Must sense of nationalism stop Filipino writers from badmouthing their country abroad? A Manila Times columnist and former Arroyo publicist raises issue of patriotism. Rigoberto D. Tiglao, columnist of The Manila Times, had a career in journalism that began in 1981 as reporter of a business daily based in Manila. His vast journalistic experience included past stints as bureau chief of Far Eastern Economic Review and columnist of Philippine Daily Inquirer. Government service interrupted his work with publications when he was appointed chief of the Presidential Management Staff, press secretary, and ambassador, among other posts. After President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo stepped down, Tiglao returned to journalism as Times columnist. When Tiglao wrote last November 17 about Filipino political partisans who badmouth their country in publications abroad, that drew a rejoinder from NUJP, National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, condemning him for red-baiting that may endanger the lives of the writers he deemed traitors. It can push people into the line of fire in a country that remains deadliest for journalists, NUJP said. BeulahLAT.com said it would hold Tiglao accountable for any harm on its writers. Related issues raised by Tiglao's attack and NUJP's response are no less significant. Does a writer become a traitor if he writes abroad about unflattering conditions in his country? When does writing for media become badmouthing? In publishing one's dissent, does one become a propagandist of those who oppose the present administration? In his list, Tiglao mentioned persons: Carlos Conde of Human Rights Watch, Sheila Coronel of Columbia Journalism School, and Manuel Quezon III, columnist of The Inquirer and a TV public affairs show host. And news websites Bulalat and Rappler and Media Watch Groups and Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility, CMFR, and Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism, PCIJ. Tiglao implied that CMFR and PCIJ were funded by CIA money. Conde is a former journalist who researches for the New York-based NGO. Coronel is mainly with the academe. Quezon, like Tiglao, is a newspaper columnist who occasionally contributes to foreign publications. Accusations: Tiglao accuses them of 1. Being indisputably biased against President Duterte, and 2. badmouthing the country as a land where the rule of law has collapsed. Their published materials abroad are misleading and often totally false. Except about the dispute on the number of people killed in the war on illegal drugs, Tiglao gave no specifics on alleged deceptive and false information. Tiglao's gripe on Quezon is that the Washington Post, where he guest writes on the op-ed page, doesn't mention his past work as publicist and spokesman of then-President Noynoy Aquino. Opinion pieces: as to bias, the writers Tiglao rapped had written opinion pieces, not news reports. Opinions usually take sides, it's the fact or conclusion that may err. In which case, the administration's massive propaganda machinery can dispute and correct any error. As to Quezon, they may ask the Post to include his former link to Pinoy, a standard practice in, say, CNN, just as readers may also ask Manila Times to publish Tiglao's past work as GMA propagandist.